Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Michali of Michali's Studio, and you are joining me in the studio today as I swatch all the Copic sketch markers that I have. Today we are doing green and blue-green as part of this series as I demonstrate how to swatch, but also doing stock of the markers I have and sharing in the process some helpful tips about these markers, which ones I like for what. If you are into fashion illustration, fashion design, this is a great video for you. My background is in fashion design, fashion illustration. That's what I studied, but I focus now on the fashion illustration and design of it for my art, for my paper dolls. That's what the focus is of my channel. If you are new to my channel, if you're coming across this video, there is 3 other parts with the previous colors that I swatched. So we've already swatched all the blue violets and the violets. We've swatched all the reds, all the red violets, the yellow reds, the yellows, and the yellow greens. So today we're diving into green and blue-green. So let's get started. When it comes to swatching our Copic markers, we're going to use the firm chiseled edge. We're going to apply light pressure. And we're going to go 1 stroke, 2 strokes, 3 strokes. Starting off with G40's Crystal Opal. It's a very light, transparent kind of color, but it builds up really nicely and it's a really great tone. I used this, and I got this when I was doing my Death Becomes Our Paper Dolls, and for Ernest Menville's shirt, I didn't want it to be too blue. He's kind of wearing this gray-blue, very light button down in the scene that I chose once he pushes Madeline Ashton down the stairs. If you're familiar with the movie, you know what I'm referring to. If not, I do recommend checking out the movie. It's one of my favorites, and I did the group of paper dolls based on those characters from that film. Next up is G05 Emerald Green. Now you can kind of see a little better what I mean about the strokes. So we do 1 long, then we reduce it for the second, and it's towards the tip just for the third. So that gives us that nice gradation, that progression, and we can see what our marker can do when we're planning out a collection, our color palette, how we're going to apply this marker. So it's a handy tool. You're not only taking stock of the markers you have, which is what I'm focused on as well, but also when you're coming to plan out that color palette for your illustration, you want to see how things look. It is important to try the markers out on the paper you're going to use. This is a premium bond paper. It might be different to what you'll illustrate on if it's marker paper like what I've got back here. Or if you're using, I use a mixed media, sort of a firmer paper for my paper dolls, but I do like to test it on the marker paper, and here it will also show it. Typically, I will create my swatches as I'm building my color palette, but as I'm pulling colors to create the color palette, I can pull my cards and take a look and say, okay, no, this isn't going to work, or it is going to work, or I want to test it out. So it's a great way to plan and to keep stock of the markers that you have as you're building your collection. Emerald green is a really great, vibrant green. I have purchased it at the time when I was working on a collection that was inspired by Oz, and I wanted to really bring in those kinds of rich greens that we see in the original film and Wicked and stuff. So that was back when I was in school, but I still have it, and it's a great green in my collection. All right, so real life here in the studio, I was about to go on to G21 Lime Green. I love this color. This is one of my favorites. And he's dried out. He needs a refill. I don't have the refill for G21. Add that to the list. So we're going to skip through G21, and I will show him to you at a later date. If you watched part 3, we came across this with Peach Puff. So while I'm taking stock, I'm also figuring out which markers need refills, which I don't have, and it's a great kind of opportunity to see what's going on and what I need to get to refill those markers. If you're interested in seeing how to refill markers, especially if you're new to Copic markers, they have these great refillable bottles, so you don't have to keep buying another one. I have a video of that in my channel, so check it out. We're going to skip now to G24, which is Willow. Willow is such a beautiful muted green. I love it. It's great for anything that's nature inspired. It layers really beautifully. And G21, which it's called lime green, but it doesn't look lime at all, in my opinion, is a very beautiful sister color to G22. It is a beautiful sister color with G24, and they work really well together. So I'll get you guys that one so we can swatch it as well. Next up in my collection is G28 Ocean Green. And it's dried out. Oh my goodness. Well, major bummer over there, but we will add it to the list and get it refilled and swatch it at a later date. Another beloved color is G40 Dim Green. I love this color. Before investing in the refill, I had 2 of these markers because I use it and love it so much. Look at how light and soft and just delicate, and it builds really nicely, and it is just such a great color. I highly recommend dim green in any basic collection of Copic markers when you're starting off. It is a great color. All right, moving on to G46 Mistletoe. I mean, it's definitely giving those Christmas vibes. It's a beautiful green. I feel like I need to cover this to not bum you all out. Beautiful green. I love this green. It looks really nice against Willow too. And this was one that I purchased for my Mother Nature paper doll. So when I wanted to have a lot of really rich greens, and this is just a beautiful green to work with. And last one in my green group is G94 Grayish Olive. This is an all-time favorite. When I first discovered this color, when I was looking for something to give me a muted green, not too bright, I was in love instantly. I'm obsessed with this color. It's definitely one that I have a refill for because I've had to refill it multiple times. It has like an olive, but again, that grayish olive. It's muted. It's not too much on the yellowy tone that olive green usually has, which I don't have. I don't have G99, but it is just, oh, it works so well for military style fashion. If that's what you're designing, if that's what's in your illustration, G94 is really great to have on hand for such looks, and it just looks really great. I mean, it builds really nicely. I've definitely used it for jackets that I've designed and sketched in my illustrations, either from runway looks of other designers that I recreate for my paper dolls or my own original designs on my paper dolls. All right, so that's what I have so far for green. Obviously, we'll come back to G21 and G28. I can't see this. This is driving me crazy. But once I have the marker refilled, it will look beautiful. All right, so now we can move on to the blue greens. I have 9 of them. Hopefully everyone behaves and doesn't need a refill. Let's check them out. Who would have thought that this would also be an opportunity for me to find out what I need to get refills for, but helpful nonetheless. All right, let's get started. All right, starting off with BG 40s, we've got Snow Green. Again, this is one of those tones. I want to get a little closer for y'all to see it. Very light, very delicate, builds up nicely, and is great for those kinds of transparent fabrics. Next up is BG02, New Blue. And again, we're just laying out 3 strokes, 1, 2, 3, so we can see the gradation and we can plan. Next up, BG09, our blue-green. What a rich, beautiful tone. I feel it's very festive, it's very jewel tone. If you're doing sort of a holiday collection or you want to do a nice rich velvet, blue-green is really great for that. Moving on to BG10, Cool Shadow. So this is great, and this is where it's really nice to be able to see it laid out in front of you, all the colors, and it will help with planning. Snow Green and Cool Shadow work nicely together. They offer a buildability that to create a shadow for Snow Green, you could use BG10. Next up is BG13, which is a mint green. This is where, to me, when I think of mint, I don't think of this kind of color. This is to me more like a turquoise based on the cap. Let's take a look. So when I think of mint, I think of the mint leaves, and they're much greener. There's not as much blue, but this is still a beautiful, beautiful color. I think of this as kind of a turquoise, and this is why it's good to have the swatch cards. This is why it's good when you're planning. And I remember when I ordered it, I think I was expecting a different kind of color. Now that we have the app that shows the swatches, and being able to create this is just really helpful. It's just a really helpful tool when you're planning out your illustrations or fashion designs. The next blue-green that I have is BG23, which is Coral Sea. I do love the names. And as you can see, BG23 and BG13, sister colors, you can work with these together to create shadows and depth and highlights. And they're really great together. And again, to remind you all, the symbols mean which other marker types these are available. So all the colors listed are available in the Copic Sketch, which is what I use. But if you are familiar with the Copic Kayo or the Copic Classics, then that's noted here with the circle and the square. So that's for, the circle is for the Kayo and the square is for the Classic. So not all the colors are available in those style markers, and it's noted here on the swatch card. Next up is BG49, Duck Blue. Another rich jewel-like tone, very wintry, great for those kinds of designs, in my opinion, and a nice one to, again, build up. You can see how these three together, the way they're stacked, how they all work really nicely. Next up, we've got BG70, Ocean Mist. Again, one of those beautiful tones that can work for transparent fabrics, has a nice buildability, is a little more gray than the snow green, and just a really gorgeous, gorgeous color. And for the last blue-green that I have, it's BG93, Green Gray. This is again another tone that I think works really well for the military variety inspired fashion. It does have that kind of khaki, but it's a little bit more green, different to what we've seen with grayish olive, or even with putty. You can kind of see with those three how they're all kind of sort of neighbors, and depending on if you want to go for a lighter khaki or a darker khaki or really a much more military green, these three can work really well. Again, if that's the kind of fashion that you're designing, if you're inspired by military fashion, those are three really good colors to work with. All right, y'all, thank you so much for joining me in part 4 of this series. I do owe you a couple of colors that I do have in my collection but need refills, so we'll touch on those another time. But this is my green Copic swatch card and my blue-green Copic swatch card. And I really just can't wait to keep adding to these. But in the meantime, these are the ones I have. As you can see, it's super easy. It's a lot of fun to fill these out. If you have any questions, as always, post them in the comments. And I will see you in part 5. Thanks so much for joining me today. I will see you in my next video.